Hello and welcome. If you're new here, my name's Roxy and I'm the owner of Juniper Bloom Studio, where I sell stickers, scrunchies, all sorts of things, and also digital art. And I've made 2 videos recently on how to make seamless patterns using both Canva and Procreate. And now this video is going to be covering how I list those products. And I'm actually going to be doing a real-time listing of one that I need to do anyway. So as you can see, I'm in my seamless pattern listings project on Canva, where I have been doing all of my project listings. I do ask that anything you see me doing, please do your own thing. Don't copy what I'm doing. Try to come up with your own style. This is just purely as an example. So please don't use like the same exact format or anything like that. And please also don't copy my seamless patterns. But this is just educational purposes, and I wanted to share with you kind of what I've done, the different little styles. Some of them have different fonts, and then this is just random stuff I've saved, so ignore that. So what I normally start by doing, because I already have this format, is I'll duplicate the page of one of the patterns and I'll start there, but for you, you'll obviously be working on a blank space. So what I like to do first and foremost is put in the background an example of my digital seamless pattern, which today is going to be this. It's unfortunately not the pattern that I used for the Procreate tutorial, as lovely as that pattern was, as lovely and hideous as it was. So this already is looking better. Seamless pattern, Juniper Bloom Studio, JB, my logo. So if you want to add watermarks or anything like that, you're more than welcome to. I feel like this is enough because you can't really use this anyway like this. Duplicate this page, which again, you'll be working from a blank page, but we've got zoomed in single square example, which I talked about this a bit in my tutorials, but in case you don't know what I'm meaning, I like to download both a zoomed in version and a multiplied version of my pattern, both just the original file, and then once you've like turned it into a more zoomed out, really, I guess, version of the seamless pattern. So right here, we're going to just use the exact same one, position, send it to the back, and I have the details of my specific listing. This is going to be different for you unless you copy the exact method that I do, which you're more than welcome to do. It is quite complicated. I do a bunch of different files and different sizes. You are more than welcome to just do one file type and one size if you'd like. Up to you. I really don't know why I do this. It's not a hard set reason. I just like accessibility, I guess. So then we're going to duplicate this other page, bring it up. And the reason I'm showing you the duplicate process with this instead of just starting from scratch is because ideally you will make your own kind of project like this where you can format it into whatever listing you need. So we're going to delete this, and then I have the multiplied version already uploaded, but if you don't, you could always just literally make it yourself by duplicating it a bunch of times and putting it on the background of this. But what I'm going to do is just use the multiplied version that I already have because I'm feeling lazy, and I also don't think that this is a perfect square, so it's not going to work as well as I would like it anyway. Multiplied zoom out version. Also, sorry, I'm sick, and if you can hear that, I can't do much about it other than edit it out as much as I can, but sorry about my voice right now. Multiplied zoomed out version, zoomed in single square example, and seamless pattern. So now that I've got these 3 listing images, I'm going to download just the pages I need, which is 29 through 31. And for listing images, I like to download them in JPEG, just because that's a pretty accessible file type, and these don't need to be high quality by any means. So we're going to go down to 29, 30, and 31. And download those. Because I'm on Windows, it's going to turn into a zip file. I don't know how that works on Mac. I wish I did. I would love to have a Mac, but here we are. So I've got that zip file ready to go. And now what we're going to do, and I will just start a whole new project for this, create a project that is 32 inches by 32 inches. Create new design. And if you only want to do 12 inches by 12 inches or whatever size you would like to do, then that would be your dimensions here. We're starting with 32 by 32 because I feel like it's easier to size down than to size up, and I like to do both 32 inches and 12 inches for my patterns. So altogether I end up with 12 files because I also do JPEG PNG and PDF versions of all of these. And the PDF version just has all of them in one. So that one's a little bit easier. We've got 32 by 32, and I'm going to call this Fall Florals Seamless Pattern. And then in parentheses, 32 inch x 32 inch. This makes it a lot easier when you are uploading things, and later I'll show you why. But now what I'm going to do is just simply add this one and this one on 2 separate pages. So now we've got 32 inch by 32 inch zoomed in and multiplied. And we're going to download both of these in JPEG. We're going to download both of them in PNG. And as I keep mentioning, you can skip any of these steps if you just want to do one file type, but I'm just showing them all. And then we're going to do a PDF for 32 by 32. Okay, so now what we're going to do is resize. Go to copy and resize, because if you ever need the OG of this, it'll still be there in the format that it is. And we're going to do custom size 12 inches by 12 inches. So now we're going to just do the same thing, make sure it's obviously formatted correctly, and download both pages in PNG, download both pages in JPEG, and download both pages in PDF. This is where it gets a little bit complicated because of Etsy specifically, because if this were Shopify, you could just upload all these files into the listing and call it a day. But because Etsy has a limit on how much you can upload, what I like to do is use Google Drive and a PDF, and I will show you exactly how I do that. I have a folder called Products. Within that, I have seamless patterns, and then I have each seamless pattern that I've ever made in its own file. We're going to make a new folder. I like to add personal use only. This is up to you if you're doing personal use only or commercial use. What I like to do is upload it as personal use only and then let people know, hey, you can purchase the commercial license for this, but you have to email me so that I have records of that, rather than people just, you know, buying it and saying they had the commercial use or whatever. This way it's just like really clean. So we're gonna go in here. I have to individually open all these zip files and add them in here, but what we can do is just straight up add the PDFs, which is nice. I'm gonna extract. You right click, extract all. I just extract right to downloads, and then it brings up those two. So immediately what I like to do is Fall Florals Seamless Pattern 12 inch x 12 inch, and then I need to double check which one it is, but I believe this is the zoomed in version, which I like to add in the title so it's just obvious. Let me double check though. Yeah, so that's the zoomed in version, which means we're gonna copy this, rename this one, and then I put multiplied on this one. So these are the JPEGs. Gonna throw those in there. I just put them all in one big thing because I get nervous about if I put folders in there, people aren't gonna be able to get in the folders, and I don't know if that's real, but it's just a paranoia that I have. So now we're gonna go up, we're gonna delete this, and we're gonna delete this. I believe, was this the, yeah, that was the JPEG one. Always double check if you're not sure, because you don't wanna end up putting something that you don't mean to and it's all messy. Okay, same thing, extract all. So we know this is 12 by 12, just double check that this is zoomed in, and it is. So same thing, it's literally gonna be the exact same names because it's just a PNG file now. Except this is gonna say multiplied. Okay, and now that those are renamed, throw them in the bin. And do the same thing. We're going to delete the files that we don't need. And now we're doing the same thing with 32 by 32. So open this up. Oh, extract it first, that would be nice. All right, double check this is zoomed in, and it is. Now what we're going to do is just change that 1 to a 3, because now it's 32 inch by 32 inch, zoomed in, and then this one, same thing, 32 by 32, but this one is multiplied. And pop those in there. I'm getting a lot of tabs by accident. I'm going to clean that up. So now I can delete that folder and that folder and open up this one. This is going to be the same exact stuff, but it's JPEGs. You know the drill by now, and I forgot to extract it again. Hopefully you remembered to extract it because, like I said, you know the drill by now. Zoomed in, perfect. Rename that 32 by 32. And then don't forget that for the second one, you don't only have to change the 32 by 32, but change as well the zoomed in to multiplied if you are doing it the way that I'm doing it. If you're just doing it one type of file and one version of the file, then that's perfectly fine. You are more than welcome to do that. If you're not sure what you want to do when it comes to that, what I recommend doing is just going around and looking at other listings. Look at successful shops listings and, oh, these are the actual listings. Okay, perfect. So we're done with this now. I'm going to keep this handy for when we do the listing. But I recommend going around to other shops that are successful or look like what you want your shop to look like. Don't copy other people. I cannot stress that enough. Use your own brain, use your own creativity. If it were my way, I would say don't use AI as well, but you know, I can't tell you what to do. So just really don't copy other people is the biggest thing, but just take a look at what they're doing on their shops and what you like about it, and borrow what you want to borrow while making it your own. If you like how I did this, where I have just a ton of files here and they're big daddy files and it's multiple sizes, then that is all up to you. But if you don't like that and it's too confusing or it's too much, then that's your prerogative, girl. You can do what you want. So now that we've got this whole folder, there's another step that's a little bit nuanced, and we are going to say share, copy link. Obviously for you this will be blank, but what you want to do is do some sort of any really size that you want, but I like to do like a paper size because it's a PDF and it just feels like it should look like a form. As you can see, I have the download instructions for all of my different things. So we're going to copy this, gonna edit this link, and I'm doing all of this first really quick and then I'm gonna explain what's happening, but I just wanted to get the links out of the way so I'm not paranoid about it. Okay, so I wrote download instructions at the top, follow the link below for access to all 12 files, and then you put in that link to the Google Drive. I'm sure there are other ways to do this, probably with Dropbox or whatever, but I only know my lovely Google Drive, so that's what we're doing. You can write out the word download, and if you right click on it, you can say edit link or add link, whatever happens when you do that. And you can have the text still say download, but add in the link there. And then I like to add if the link isn't working, because some people get tripped out by that. Please copy and paste the following text into your browser, and then I write out the link right there. And then I just wrote, thank you for supporting my small business, 𝐒𝐭𝐮𝐬, which sometimes I kind of reformat depending on how long that link is. And big important step here is adding in the actual pattern that it's for so that it just looks more cohesive. So we're gonna go backward, download instructions, and now I'm gonna go share, download, PDF, standard. This is so important because it says best for documents in emailing. We don't want PDF print because I am paranoid that you can't click the link in a PDF print, and I know you can click it in a standard. I could be wrong about all of that. Do not click flatten. But I know that it works when you do it this way, and if you want to double check, you just say download, make sure it's the current page if you have multiple. Download PDF standard, current page. And then once it downloads, you can open it and test out that link and just double check that it works. which I always like to do because I'm paranoid that I'll get a customer being like, I couldn't reach it. And there you have it. You click on that link and it just brings up your nice little thing. And then another thing you want to make sure is when you say share, you click on here and say anyone with the link. I should have said that earlier. That is a very important thing. They will not be able to see it unless you do that step. Viewer. You want it to be viewer. You don't want them to edit anything, just view so that they can download the files. And done. Now what we're going to do is actually list it on Etsy. Okay, so what I've done is I went into Shop Manager listings, and I actually copied another listing that I had just because it helps my brain make everything more cohesive and match everything. So for the title, you can do whatever title you want. Etsy will probably recommend something for you if you do a weird title. It's always trying to recommend something for me because it thinks my titles are weird. I like to do all under lowercase because I just think it looks kind of cute and cozy to be like uniform like that. I don't recommend that you do that though. And like I said a ton of times before, don't just like copy everything I'm doing. This is just an example. But what I'm going to do is take where it says Sketched Autumn and write in fall florals, and then I have digital seamless pattern, and then after that I do this little thing and put my little description for SEO. However you want to do the title is fine. I don't know how effective mine is, so if you want to do more research on that, I'm not an Etsy expert. And then I add my 3 listings, so what I'm going to do is delete all of these. Also, as you can see here, and this is not something I covered, but I can if you want, is I just made a few mock-ups of what the pattern would look like on different items. I did that actually just through Canva, but you can do it if you have a Printify account, you could do it if you have a Placeit account, and you could also just do it if you have general Photoshop skills or mock-ups available. There's a lot of different ways, but I'm not covering that in this video because it's just a whole nother thing that is not necessary to list things. It's just something I like to do. You could also do like blankets or candles or whatever items you want to do. So for the listing images, we're going to bring up our handy dandy seamless pattern listings, add those in there. And I'm not going to add those other ones right now. And then where it says seamless patterns instructions PDF, we're going to remove that and add in our recent one. And if you're paranoid that it's not right, if you're working with a lot of files all at once, which I often am, I'll be uploading like 3 at a time, you can just download it and click in. You can even double check the link again if you would like. That is up to you on how paranoid you are. And now I have my description. Your description, same as the title, can be completely different from mine, and it should be different from mine, but it can, you know, copy the same format loosely if you want. I like to add little asterisks because I know that people really don't read these, so I just want you to really see it, you know. Digital files of a seamless repeating pattern in sketched autumn style. Take this out and write in fall florals style. And right here, I like to add little emojis. I'm going to do a sunflower here. Comes in PDF, JPEG, and PNG in both 12 by 12 and 32 by 32. Obviously, you want that to match the way that you're uploading it. You don't want to write that exactly if you're just doing PNGs of 32. Can be used as digital pattern as well as on physical products. This is not a physical product. Images shown of physical products are for demo purposes only. Obviously, you don't want to add that part in if you're not putting any demo photos in there. You know, just use your brain. Use your very smart brain when you're doing this. Don't just blind sheep copy me. Do not redistribute or sell this product, personal use only. And then I added, as I mentioned before, if you'd like the commercial license or if you have any other questions, please reach out at my email. And then I just have some little details on here. Shop, prices are lower on the website, which prices are lower on the website, you guys, if you're interested. Socials, all my socials, and then I just have a bunch of things down here. This is not really a bookish pattern, so I'm going to replace that all with floral. Anytime it says floral, I don't know why ghost is here. I'm just gonna put autumn floral pattern right here, floral. So if you're copying your listings, just make sure to go through, like right here I have vintage Halloween. This is not a vintage Halloween. I think I was just going for popular words at the time, and vintage Halloween was trending when I uploaded it. but I don't recommend doing that. Fall floral digital pattern, garden lover digital pattern. I'm just kind of making stuff up right now, honestly. Nature digital pattern, fall nature digital pattern. You get the point. It's not a pumpkin, so I'm just gonna put flowers digital pattern, juniper bloom studio. So I think I got all of the things that don't really make sense. And I priced mine at $3. I priced them at $2 on my website because, as I said, they're cheaper on the website because, as you see, my earnings from it is $2.26. Some people price them higher, some people price them lower. It's up to you. It's another one of those things where I would just go around looking at listings that you like. And if it's a shop that you're like, wow, the quality is great, and they're pricing it lower than you, then, and I'm not saying your quality isn't great, but if you're just starting out and you really want people to see your listings, maybe try to be a little more flexible on the price. I feel like $3 for a digital pattern that's not commercial use is a decent price because I'm almost always running a sale anyway. And like I said, my prices are cheaper on my website too. I always do $9.99. I think I copied one that had already sold a few, and that's why the quantity was lower. But I always do $9.99, so it's good for however long. Primary color, I would say, is not brown. You want to make sure to change all of this if you're copying your listings, and obviously not do the same things if your pattern looks totally different from mine. 12 by 12 is the width and height that I put, just because that's one of them. You don't have the option to do multiple. And then we're going to take off the subjects, and let's just do flowers. Easy. And then again, right here, you want to take out anything that doesn't really make sense and add in your own things. I also recommend getting something like 𝐉𝐤𝐷 if you're really going to be into Etsy, because 𝐉𝐤𝐷 will give you a lot of good keywords and you can see how they rank and everything if you're into SEO. I'm not covering that right now. So I'm just going to kind of throw some things in here that I don't know how they're going to rank. We're going to do fall floral pattern, fall floral background. Ooh, fall background. Autumn florals, autumn flowers, and there we go, all 13 used. Those are probably terrible keywords, but I'm just trying to get through this for the sake of the example, and I can always go in and change it. Patterns and backgrounds, we're gonna not feature this listing because I'm featuring other ones. Etsy ads I'm not doing, and then renewal options I always do automatic. And then I'm just gonna do one more scroll through. The main things you wanna look for is that you changed the title. If you are copying it, you wanna make sure you have all your listing images in order so that seamless pattern is the first one. You don't even have to have these ones if you don't want to. You can have more, you can have a video. That is all up to you and how you wanna do it. I'm just lazy, so that's as far as I'm going with it. Make sure you have uploaded a digital file. I don't even think it'll let you post without this. And then just double check, your caption and everything. Always double check your work, check your price, check your quantity, and there you have it. You want to make sure it says digital files, because if you're working with a blank listing, I believe you're going to have to fill all this out. I put art and collectibles, drawing and illustration, digital, and it can kind of help you with this. Usually it'll use like in-system AI to help you out. Materials I don't put because it's a digital product. And there's no shipping information, of course. So just make sure you're really looking through all of these things, and then publish copy with changes. You're about to publish a new listing. As you probably know, Etsy charges 20 cents, and publish. So now we can go into listings as soon as it updates. And voila, we have here a listing. And then just for the sake of it, I guess I can show you really quickly how it would be on Shopify as well, because we're already here. Shopify, it is so much easier, in my opinion. I'm gonna go products, and I'm gonna find a listing similar like I did before. Things are going to be slightly different on Shopify. I'm not going to go super in-depth on here, and if you would like me to, then I am more than happy to. What I like to do is just take the details straight from Etsy so that I don't have to think twice. We love working smarter, not harder. We're going to copy all this. And actually, I want to keep... No, I don't. on here I like to bold things, so I just have to re-bold them. But to me that's easier than typing things all out. So then we are going to obviously do the same thing we did with Etsy, where we replace the product images, whether it's a new listing or not. Open up our handy dandy pattern listings, and it's already in order, so we love that. Price $2 because I do it cheaper. And then yes, 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 I think actually, yeah, just accept all. And then more actions. Here, let's save this. You're gonna go more actions and add digital file. I believe you can only do that after you saved because I didn't see it before. You're gonna delete the old one, that's very important, and then add the new one. And there you have it. That's all you have to do for Shopify. It's very, very easy. You can obviously do more work when it comes to your SEO and such, but that is how I list my digital seamless patterns. If you have any questions, if I didn't cover anything enough, please let me know in the comments. And if there's any other tutorials that you would like to see, it might not be something I'm an expert on, but if I've mentioned it and I've said like, oh, I'm not going into that in this video, then I probably kind of know one or two things about it. And even if I don't know something about it, I'd be more than happy to talk about the things that I have learned along the way. Thank you so much if you've made it this far. I really appreciate you. I'm giving you some virtual hugs, even though you can't see them. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.